DC here. Hi guys. Well, it's Sunday morning and I'm going to be off to church in a bit. But I thought I'd take time to make a little vlog. You know, Sunday mornings are actually a good time for that. Mrs. DC is off to work actually. She works in healthcare and she has to work on weekends sometimes. So, subject of today's vlog. Well, you've probably read it in newspapers about 20 years ago, 20 years ago the Berlin Wall went down, as they say, and there was this big enthusiasm for renewal, for reunification, and so on. And got me to thinking about that because one of my work colleagues is a man of, he's just turned 40, so he was 20 years old when that happened, and he was living at the time in East Germany. Now, of course, we got to talking about that, and I was asking, well, you know, what do you think now that you've known both sides of the wall, and he lives actually in Germany but works in Switzerland with me. And so it was actually quite interesting because, as he said, he, as a young boy, never noticed that they were on the wrong side of the wall. And he said we were kids. We played like kids, and they had actually regular, well, they were calling it, I think, orienteers or something like that, but actually it was almost like scouts. Of course, as he said, it was very pro-government and so on, but they would go camping and things like that. And as he said, as a kid, you didn't actually really notice it because you didn't know anything else. And in a way, I mean, if you think, I mean, I and a lot of us, I think, were probably brought up in poorer parts of our country, and we didn't always realize that we were poor. And the same thing I would say this with them. Now, it brings up a few other things that was quite interesting in the talk. Is that he brought up one little thing. He said, well, we had these oranges from Cuba. He says they were terrible. You couldn't eat them, but they made really good juice. You know, so I mean, you get around these things. As he said, we didn't eat strawberries in the middle of winter, or tomatoes. We had them canned in winter. He said we followed the seasons, and it never came to them actually that there was any other way. And you know, you can think about that actually, turning the seasons around. But another few things that he brought up that really got me to thinking. He said his parents actually, of course, everybody was given a job. They would be home early, had time actually with the kids most of the time. And there was no actual stress because everybody knew what they had to do and when they had to do it. Now, I'm bringing actually up to a point where so I said to him, yeah, but this sounds almost like solely like an ideal world. And as he said, well, it wasn't actually. He said, we weren't allowed to think for ourselves. He was pretty good at school at the time, so they had decided what he would do. His parents, I mean, were more or less always told what to do. And as he said, there was this thing of if you didn't think too much, it was great. But if you started to want to change things contrary to what the government wanted, then you were into it. But as he said, if you look at today's world, where we are allowed to think, but we're in a way also in a heartless world, people are getting laid off left, right, and center, losing their jobs, losing their homes. You know, no, but other people are taking our decisions as well. I'm not trying to make any apology for either capitalism or communism or socialism, whatever you want to call it. But nevertheless, I mean, there's one thing that came out there is that it doesn't matter which society you live in. What's important, at least that came out from this chat with my friend, is that your close environment is a caring one. Now, I could see he came from a family where they cared for each other, and they made the best of the situations that they were in. because we're all in situations that we can't change very much, are we? At times. I mean, that's the way life is, isn't it? And if you're around people that create a caring environment for you, I think you can surpass. Actually, you actually don't notice what's around. Blindness, naiveness, maybe it is at times, but it certainly makes life easier. On the other hand, we cannot forget actually that we are not in an enclosed vessel. We're not on an island. There is a world around us, and I think that was one thing actually that when the wall came down, is that the people on the east side, as he said, they realized even more there was something on the other side of that wall, and they were surprised. He said at one point actually, we were surprised by all the color. And I sometimes wonder when we look at the other side, I'm sometimes surprised at the simplicity, in the positive sense of the word, of some of the people that I've met, where they were taking life as it was, and they had learned to live with what they had and to be content. Thought for today: have we learned to be content? Today's world is really hard, isn't it? But I think that's something we really have to get back onto. Okay, bit of preachiness just before going to church. Makes sense, doesn't it? Actually, just before, took a walk with Dago. But, you know, sometimes these Sunday morning vlogs can't always be dog vlogs. You got to see the old dog, not the new one, I guess. Okay, so listen, that's all for now. As usual, my vid's getting on. I'm a chatterbox, I know, but that's just the way I am. So I will be signing off. Might make another vid today, maybe two. We'll see. Depends. Like I say, Mrs. DC's away. Okay. So, DC signing off. Take care.